In Pit Lane would like to acknowledge the support of the following sponsors. We thank them for their support of In Pit Lane. Sure why I've got this computer. As you can probably see on the wide shot, Doc is not with us tonight. Doc is in fact with doctors tonight. He's not with us. He's being operated on, so nothing serious, but hopefully Doc will be back next week. So Doc, if you're watching, good day, how are you? The reason that this has become a prop, of course, because Doc is the only one who knows how to operate this. So if you want to make, if by all means, feel free to comment on our Facebook channel or our YouTube channel, but we can't read these tonight because, one, I don't know how to operate it, and two, I haven't got my glasses with me, so we're doubly stuffed. Welcome to another edition of In Pit Lane. Coming up, of course, it's Speedway season just around the corner, and tonight we're talking all things Speedway and the local sprint car scene with our guest Adrian Parr and his son Braydon Parr. Braydon, the driver of a sprint car, and we're going to find out all about what's happening in the upcoming season in just a moment. But of course, it was a huge weekend of motorsport. We'll get to it in a second. Also, by the way, we did advertise tonight our band Brando Rising was going to join us for reasons we won't go into, reasons beyond both our controls. They won't appear tonight, but at the last minute, I'm pleased to say Marcus Miller has come in and he'll be joining us a little bit later on in the program with some music. But right now, it was obviously a big weekend in local motorsport. Let's find out what happened with the In Pit Lane Motorsport News. Controversy continues to overshadow the win of Scott McLaughlin and Alex Premer in last Sunday's Bathurst 1000. Race stewards have announced an investigation will be held to determine whether instructions to Fabian Coulthard to slow the number 12 Mustang under a safety car amounted to a contravention of Rule D24.1 of the Supercars Operations Manual. That rule prohibits team orders. If the charge is upheld, penalties could range from a loss of the team's championship points and a fine. And while not totally ruled out, a penalty for the winning car is most unlikely. Meanwhile, the winners were not worrying at all about the controversy as they did the media rounds in Sydney to celebrate their historic maiden win.
I think it would take a while before it does completely sink in. I was just thinking in the car on the way here, I'll always be on that Bathurst 1000 winners list and stuff, or we will be. And it's a pretty special thing to think about that, and the people that have won Bathurst and especially got their names on the Peterborough Trophy. For us to have our names on it now is unreal.
Yeah, I'm very proud to be the first French driver to win Bathurst. It means a lot. I mean, the race is in the legacy of all the best races to win, like Indianapolis 500, Daytona, Le Mans, and Monaco in Formula One. So it's kind of crazy to be part of the history of Bathurst. When I came here first time in 2012, for sure that the target was the goal, try to win some races and try to win battles, but when you're starting on the low teams, it's pretty hard to do that, and going step the ladders and going on the big teams, like the Team Penske, they gave me the great opportunity to win for them, and with Scott, with Scott, we spend so much time together since 2013, so there's a really good friendship going together, and I think it's a good reward for our family, for both of us, and also for Team Penske and Roger Penske.
Getting ready for Motul Petit Le Mans.
It was a good weekend for Roger Penske as the captain watched his number 17 car dominate the once great race on the mountain. His sports car team was wrapping up the North American Championships at Road Atlanta. Although not winning the Petit Le Mans, a fourth place was enough to give the Penske team the title for drivers Juan Pablo Montoya and Dane Cameron. The race was won by the Cadillac of Pipo Derani, Felipe Nasser and Eric Curran. In the GT Le Mans class, Rizzi Competizione returned to the series with the Ferrari 488 GTE of James Collado, Alessandro Pierguidi and Daniel Serra taking the win. A win to Valtteri Bottas in the Japanese Grand Prix has secured the Constructors' Championship for Mercedes and made the Drivers' title an inter-team battle between Bottas and Championship leader Lewis Hamilton. Bottas made a great start taking the lead at turn 1 and from there on was never really under any threat. Hamilton finished third behind Ferrari driver Sebastian Vettel, who appeared to jump the start but received no penalty. Max Verstappen was out early thanks to contact from Ferrari's Charles Leclerc. Leclerc went on to cross the line in 6th place, but penalties dropped him back to 7th. That penalty moved Daniel Ricciardo up to 6th place after the Renault driver started back in 16th after a dismal qualifying session. A spectacular exit for Australian driver Jack Doohan from the Euro Formula Open race at Monza on the weekend. The son of 5-time World MotoGP champion Mick, Doohan was in the wrong place at the wrong time as the car of Christian Hahn ran wide before crossing straight into the side of Doohan's car. Both drivers escaped injury. The race was won by New Zealand's Liam Lawson, yes, another fast Kiwi, who took out the series rookie title. Thousands attended the Royal Exhibition Buildings in Melbourne last weekend for the annual Motor Classica. The show once again featured an extraordinary entry of classic cars and bikes, as well as a smattering of new machinery, including the new mid-engine Bolwell Nagari prototype. The original Nagari was an Australian classic in the 1970s, and Campbell Bolwell is hoping that the new car may one day go into production and join it.
It's just passion, I think. It's 50 years too. I mean, it's significant from that point of view.
You're making me feel very old now.
Well, I'm feeling old myself, but the point is that we released the first Nagari in this building, right under the dome there, exactly 50 years ago. And it was a highlight of the motor show of that year.
I actually remember it. Yes, I was there.
You were a little boy this high.
Oh, well, I was a little boy that high, but I do remember it.
We had trouble keeping your kids off putting your fingers on it. Never mind. But, so yeah, it's a 50-year anniversary. And, of course, the technology in the Bolwell group now is vastly different to what it was 50 years ago. The outcome is we have Australia's next supercar. Maybe it's the only supercar, I don't know, but the point is we've been able to achieve this, which has got some superior elements to it. It's super lightweight, it weighs under a tonne, and yet it's got a V8, 6.2 litre V8 motor, same as the Corvette, in it, mid-engine, 6-speed manual, 500 horsepower, thereabouts. So, does it go? I got to tell you, I've driven it. It's pretty horrendous.
Performance is adequate.
It is adequate, I think, is what Rolls-Royce
would say, yes. In Pit Lane, we'll have a special edition from Motor Classica, as well as the historic Sandown in the first week of November, including extended interviews with 1966 Bathurst winners Rano Alternate and Bob Holden, Campbell Bolwell and Motor Classica boss Paul Mathers. Steve Torrance took over the top fuel points lead in the NHRA countdown to the championship when he defeated Doug Coletta at the 12th annual NHRA Carolina Nationals at ZMAX Dragway. Defending world champion Torrance took the event for the second year in a row with a final round 3.772 second pass at 520.12 kilometres per hour. Funny car saw Robert Height run a 3.917 at 529.50 to win the final round when Jack Beckman jumped the start. The win puts him into the lead in the countdown for the championship. In Pro Stock, Derek Kramer ran a 6.54 at 340 kilometres per hour in the final round to take his second victory in 2019, beating Matt Hartford in the final. And Andrew Hines picked up his 8th Pro Stock motorcycle win of the season on his Harley Davidson with a 6.805 at 320.51 kilometres per hour to defeat Karen Stouffer in the final. A narrow win for Ryan Blaney in the rain-delayed Talladega race for the NASCAR Championship playoffs. Bailey edged out Ryan Newman to win the race by only 7/100ths of a second after a late race restart brought about by the traditional Talladega Big One involving 11 cars. Blaney led the field to the green with 2 laps remaining. He briefly lost the lead to Newman, but coming to the checkered flag, side-drafted Denny Hamlin and, with the help from fellow Ford driver Eric Almirola, beat Newman to the finish line by the finest possible margin. There's no doubt about it, that's the epitome of close racing. When we come back, speaking of Speedway and close racing, we're going to be joined by our special guest to preview the summer of sprint car racing coming up locally across Victoria. You're watching In Pit Lane on Channel 31. We'll be back right after this break. Okay, well, yes, we will be back in just a moment. Like we said, Doc is away this week and we had some problems. We've had all sorts of problems today, so the fact that the show is going to air at all is an absolute bloody miracle at the moment. But yes, so Doc will be back. I'll let you know before, we'll give you an update on this a little bit later. If you've entered the Historic Sandown competition, we're going to keep that open until this Thursday at midnight. This Thursday at midnight, we'll give this a plug for our 31 viewers later. But all you've got to do is go to the In Pit Lane YouTube channel, which some of you are watching on right now. Leave a comment, like and subscribe. It's very important for you to like and subscribe, and then we will pick winners at random. So now remember, that's tickets only. We're not flying you to Melbourne. There have been some people from interstate and overseas and all the rest of it. No, we don't have that sort of budget. If we had the budget to do any flying overseas, trust me, I would be the one flying overseas, preferably about this time slot next week. Now, coming up, yes, as I said, Speedway season is just around the corner with summer, and we're going to talk Speedway with our guests, Adrian Parr and Braydon Parr, in just a moment. So we might as well head back to Channel 31 when you're ready and when the control room is ready, Pete.
5, 4, 3.
Welcome back to In Pit Lane. Well, yes, summer is just around the corner, and that means that sprint car racing is about to get underway. Speedways are everywhere right across the state. It's probably the most profligate form of motorsport in the country. We go to small country towns, and it's just amazing how many of them have a local speedway. Saturday night is Speedway night. Of course, the Formula One of speedway racing is, of course, the sprint cars. And to find out about the local sprint car season and what's happening over the next few months, joining us now from Parr Motorsport are Adrian Parr and his son Braydon. Gentlemen, welcome to In Pit Lane.
Thanks for having us, Brett. Thank you.
Firstly, Adrian, the state of sprint car racing at the moment, looking from the outside, it looks like it's a pretty healthy scene.
It is indeed. Car counts are remarkable all over the country, and especially in Victoria. And I get asked a lot, being in the industry, how the economy is affecting it. But everyone would think that it would be affecting it, but car counts reflects differently on that. So great car counts right across not only Victoria but Australia at the moment.
Do we have any idea how much? Because as I said, they are the top level. They're the equivalent of a V8 supercar, Formula One, or even Top Fuel in drag racing. And yet, all of those major championships are struggling for numbers. Do we have any idea of just exactly how many teams and cars there are in the country?
Oh, it's pretty hard to gauge because there's a couple of different classes in that. But the top 410 classes, I guess, an average per state, I'd say they're probably about 40 each state, 40 to 50 each state.
And that's quite incredible when you think about it, because I mean you are talking about sort of an elite form of motorsport, even though people might look at it on Speedway and say, well, it's not the same sort of expense as for circuit racing or drag racing, but I mean these are serious thoroughbred racing machines, and you obviously need big budgets.
Definitely do. For example, just on an average sprint car, brand new sprint car at the moment, you're looking at probably 80,000, 90,000 for a brand new motor, and upwards of 30,000 for a car. And most of the good teams would have 2 or 3 of those at their disposal. So it's fair money that you're playing with there.
So tell us about your team. What's the situation with that? Where are you running over the next few months?
Yeah, well, actually, Braydon's been very lucky to score a good ride with the Stark family down in Port Connell in South Australia. We've also got secured some great sponsors that we've had previously. But yeah, we'll be running the full SRA series. He's had a remarkable result in the last few years on that, so we'll do that again, see how that goes, and we plan to run all the major events in Victoria and the Australian title this year in Tasmania, so that's our agenda for the year.
Braydon, tell us about the car you're driving. We've heard sort of your dad mention, 410. Tell us about, for people who don't know sprint cars that well, tell us about sort of what's the motor, what sort of power are you're trying to tame there?
Well, if you're planning to get in one straight away, it will scare you straight away. It's really hard to handle straight off the bat, but after doing this for about 5 years now, I've pretty much got the handle of it. I'm still learning every single time I hop in the race car. But yeah, it's just unbelievable. You're in the seat of 900 horsepower, and it's just phenomenal to drive. I'm having fun doing it, and just can't thank everyone that helps me get there.
You're going to follow the SRA series. How many rounds are in that series, and what sort of tracks will you be running at?
There's about 15 rounds in the series, so we'll look about going all around Victoria. If we don't do a SRA event, we'll most likely go to Sydney, perhaps even Murray Bridge, and see what we can find.
What's the situation at the moment? The thing is with Speedway, it's sort of very fragmented compared with a lot of other forms of motorsport, and that's why it's a little bit hard for the outsiders to sort of break in and follow it, because you're not sure who's doing what. Like, what is the top level? Is it still sort of World Series Sprint Cars locally, or has that sort of changed over the years?
It is. There's another series that's formed, USC, which travels sort of the east coast of Australia. That's fairly prestigious as well, but yeah, World Series is still the top agenda. But having said that, each local state have pretty good series as well. The SRA series is probably one of the toughest in Australia. So
because I think that's the thing. I mean, the last time we had a sprint car driver on, we talked about sort of a round that was, I think, at Nior or something at that particular weekend, and it turned out there was, there were another 30 cars racing in New South Wales. There were another 30 odd, racing in Queensland. They went, oh yeah, but there was also Northern Territory and Perth as well. It's just, you couldn't imagine that. It's like sort of having Bathurst on the weekend, but also running the Sandown 500 on the same day with another full field.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before. You've got average of roughly 40 per state, and they can they don't affect each other, which is great. And like I said, still got great car counts and great supporters and going to watch it.
Braydon, what are your long-term plans? Obviously, the holy grail for sprint car drivers is the United States and the world of outlaws. Is that sort of in the back of your mind?
Yeah, like you said, United States is a massive goal for me to get there. It would be such an honour to go over there and just drive. I don't mind if we just don't make the A or a big event. It'll be an honour to go over there. But just making the Grand Annual Sprint Car Classic or even the title this year will be absolutely phenomenal and a massive achievement for our team. So it'll be pretty nice to do that.
So just quickly, we're going to go for a break. But when's your next race?
This weekend at IMSA in Echuca.
In Echuca. Well, as you said, there are tracks all over the place. Stay with us for the moment. We'll come back and wrap up in just a moment. But for now, Adrian and Braydon, thanks for joining us in Pit Lane.
Thank you.
And we are going to take a break. When we come back, we'll be joined by our musical guest for the night, that is Marcus Miller, and also we'll be telling you what's happening around local motorsport. This is In Pit Lane. Don't go away, we'll be right back. Okay, so see, this is one of the things. There's so many circuits. It's stuck there. I tried to.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of states that have already started wingless sprints and sprint cars. But Sydney, or Valvoline Raceway, Sydney starts this weekend with their USC round, and we start our 410 racing this weekend, so it's the first round of our series. My eldest son runs a wingless sprint for the first time at Avalon Raceway this Saturday night as well, and there's 60 odd cars going to that.
Yeah, well, they seem to be very. I know a few people who are into that. We saw them out at, of all places, Druin, which was very, very tight.
That's right. Yeah, they do run it there.
So we're trying to remove. We're moving it now as a major. Ladies and gentlemen, this man that you are watching went to university for 4 years in order to be able to do that. Your taxes at work. That's all right. I went for 8 years, and look at me. doing a free-to-air television show that I don't get paid for. Oh, isn't education a wonderful thing? Now, yes, so after this week, when do you move sort of closer to Melbourne? I mean, what are the Avalon's obviously pretty close. What about what's the other tracks? I suppose Druin is fairly close. And
Yeah, we don't.
Would be the other.
410 sprint cars don't run at those tracks, so we're primarily Avalon, Warrnambool, Moama, Mount Gambier, up into Sydney, and Adelaide, Murray Bridge.
We've talked a lot about this on this program about the lack of an A-grade drag strip in Melbourne in particular, not just in Victoria, but now there are sort of top class speedways, of course, in Victoria. What would it mean to get a really top class speedway somewhere very closer to Melbourne than say Avalon is?
Oh, it'd be huge. Naturally, we used to have the Speed Bowl back in the day out at Laverton there. That was really close for us. We used to have Bacchus Marsh too that we used to run that's sort of closed down now. So
that has officially closed, has it?
Yeah.
We actually did the opening of that. We did the live. It wasn't a live stream. It was actually live broadcast on Optus Vision back in the days.
That first night, I think it was the Victorian. They had 10,000 people there.
There were a lot of people, and it was probably the coldest night that I've ever experienced in my. Because we got out at about 6 in the morning, but it was that. It was a really great circuit. That's a shame that it really just didn't take off.
I'm not sure where they got. They do us talk years ago around Calder Park area, but that's so built up now that it's going to be hard to sort of get something happening there. And even the Docklands at one stage, there was talk of that. But
Docklands would be good.
That'd be awesome. But I'm not sure how. With the built-up area now, how close you can sort of get in there.
Because we have talked about what a new complex coming up out of Pakenham as well, but we've checked on that and there's no plans for a speedway there. In fact, even the drag strip that they were talking about is going to literally be just a very short sort of streetcars only affair, which is most regrettable. But we're hoping, by the way, if you're interested to find out what's happening with that Cardinia Motorsport Complex, hoping to have someone on from there, from the Braydons very, very soon on the program. There's just been a few delays. They don't want to sort of come here until they've got some definite things that they can announce in terms of clearances from the council and all the rest of it. But they're confident that will go ahead. So hopefully within the next month or so, we'll have someone on the program to talk about plans for that particular complex at McGregor Road out at Pakenham. But right now it's time for some music, and as I said, our band, unfortunately, the band turned up. Unfortunately, some of their equipment didn't, but more about that later. Thankfully, Marcus Miller came in at the very last moment, and if you want to see him this Thursday, he'll be at the El Coco Bar, and I think that's a residency, isn't it? So you can see him any Thursday between 6 and 9 at the El Coco Bar, and Fridays and Saturdays, is that the El Coco Bar or at Churnside? So that's Churnside. Okay, so there's a bit of a mistake on the graphic there. So Friday and Saturday 2 p.m. To 6 p.m. and Sunday 2 p.m. 6 p.m. at the Precinct Bar at Chermside Park. But right now he's going to be playing for us. This is a bonus song for you, all of you watching online. This is Marcus Miller and By My Side.
I don't know where I'm going. The split by sides. I can't see what's coming. The clouds are covering the lights, but I might just fight if you stay. Would you stay? 'Cause if I have you by my side, everything will be alright. I will fight for us. Promise I won't give you up, 'cause you could be my life, and I will give you my love. tides in my eyes are seizing. My point of view's clearer. What am I supposed to do without you here? So would you stay? Or would you stay? Yeah. Or would you stay? Yeah. 'Cause if I have you by my side, everything won't be alright. I'll do fight for us. I promise I won't give you up, 'cause you could be my life, and I'll give you my love.
Marcus Miller. There we are. Oh, look, we'll do that one again, because when I get into focus, we'll do that one again. Marcus Miller joining us on the program. He'll be joining us to take us out a little bit later on in the program when we come back on Channel 31, which we're going to do in just a moment. So, Marcus, if you could just stay there for a moment. We'll go back to 31. We'll show you, update you with what's happening locally this weekend with our motoring diary, and then we come back and we'll wrap up the evening and say goodnight to you. So right now, Pete, when they're ready, let's go back to Channel 31.
Brought to you by the Motoring Diary, your must-have guide for all motoring enthusiasts. Want to know what's happening this week in local motorsport? Well, you can head up to Alexandra for the Academus Rally. It's run by our friends at the Melbourne University Car Club, and it's happening this Saturday. Or you can head up the Hume Highway for the Victorian 2-litre Sports Sedan Championships. It's part of the Australian Motor Racing Series. There's always a great card at Winton, and the entire track can be seen from pretty much everywhere around the circuit. And it's this weekend, October 19th and 20th. Also this weekend, head out to Parwin for the Victorian Motorcarna Championship, Round 8. It's run by the Victorian Mini Club. Now, I do know where Dandenong is, and I do know where Greaves Reserve is as well. And if you head out there this Sunday, you can go to the Tuned Trick or Treat Car Show. It's advertised as being a car show with a difference. How much of a difference? Well, you're just going to have to go out and find out yourself. There's bound to be lots and lots of great cars out there, plus there's DJs and a whole bunch of other entertainment as well. That's this coming Sunday, Greaves Reserve, Motor City, Dandenong. And that's what's happening this weekend in local motorsport.
Yes, so lots to keep you occupied over the next weekend, and also we're coming into a really, really busy time of local motorsport. Speaking of that, for all of you watching on Channel 31, we are going to keep our ticket giveaway to the historic Sandown meeting. That'll be next week until midnight tonight. And that's Thursday night. So if you're watching one of the replays, sorry you've missed out. But if you're watching Thursday night at 9:30, there is still time to enter. All you've got to do is go to the In Pit Lane YouTube channel, like and subscribe, and leave a comment under this particular show, and say that you want some tickets, and we'll pick some winners at random, and you can head out for what's going to be an absolutely huge meeting. And there's where you can go, youtube.com/In Pit Lane, where you can watch the show live every week. You get lots and lots of bonus content. Adrian and Braydon, once again, thanks for coming in. Just quickly, if people want to find out more about the team and more about Sprintcar racing, is there a website or something they can go to?
Well, Adrian Parr's Facebook page is probably the best thing. Get merchandise and keep an eye on all his results.
Merch is always good.
Merch is great, and we've got a fantastic range this year. So,
and Speedway's they're the last bastion of like really good merch in terms of, because you used to get it at circuit racing and drag racing all the time. Don't see it nowadays. Go to the Speedway. There are the T-shirts, there are caps, there are stickers still. It's fabulous.
Huge in America as well. They have a huge semi-trailer full of merch, and and it's sort of coming out this way a little bit with the major teams. So, but yeah, it's a major thing nowadays.
Well, Braydon, good luck for this weekend up at Chuka Way. Hope the weather stays fine, so you get some laps under your belt, and that you have lots of success and stay safe. Keep it facing the right way up. But until we see you again, for Adrian and Braydon, thanks for joining us in Pit Lane.
Thanks again. Cheers.
Now, coming up, we've got some music on the program. Our guest tonight is Marcus Miller, and if you'd like to see Marcus, he's coming up. Well, you probably missed the El Coco Bar if you're watching on Channel 31, but you can see him every week there, Thursday 6 to 9. Also at the Precinct Bar at Chermside Park. That's Friday and Saturday, and also Sunday 2 till 6 p.m. But right now, he's going to play us out with his song, Book of Love. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Marcus Miller and Book of Love. Till we see you next week, good night.
Every now and then when I think of you, wonder if we could start something new. Skip all the worries and find a different view. If our hearts are torn to pieces, then we can't fix them with the glue and everything. But you're weary of ripped pages and everything that you dream about. Write the pages. So all these chapters are long and boring. Too much fire, wrong to it drown. But maybe both of us have something new to bring to this book of love we're writing. Love is all we give. Oh, no, no. Shouldn't have to worry about what other people think. Didn't live to please the world. Just forget about the stupid little things. We don't live long enough, and we don't stay forever young, and everything that you're weary of. Rip the pages and everything that you dream about. Write the pages. Write the pages. 'Cause all these chapters are long and boring. There's too much right or wrong to it right. But maybe both of us have something new to bring to this book of love we're writing. Love is all we give.